Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the game starts.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of BLEAV and Bills. I am Justice General Radford. Of course, I'm joined by the legend of two games. No Pee-wee. We got Coach Muki Hawkins in the building and Hilbert's finest. Jamal is also with us tonight. We may have some more people with us. But football is back. We got our first week of training camp under our belts. The Buffalo Bills look really, really good. And as a, contending title team, that's what we expect, and they are, they got something to prove, a little something to prove. Because last couple seasons they ended the way we wanted to end it. So we'll see how things kick off this year. But first, how you guys doing? What's going on, Coach? How you feeling tonight, man?
Hey, man, I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? Coming off winning the Kensington Lions, the 47th Kensington Lions All-Star game this Friday. I feel pretty damn good, 22-15, keep the streak alive. That's like 7 in a row for Team South. So had a great weekend.
Okay, congratulations on that. Jamal, how you feeling, man?
Feeling great. Can't complain. Ready to talk some football.
All right, so then let's talk some football then. All right. Training camp started, of course, like we mentioned. We might as well go ahead and start with the bread and butter, right? The money makers on this team in particular, the offense, right? You got your superstar quarterback, your superstar wide receiver, and then a lot of question marks outside of that. Maybe not question marks, but we'll see. There's kind of questions about everybody as far as can they improve this season? Because nobody's perfect. So let's just go from top to bottom. You look at the one thing that has been having people talk is this receiving core, right? Rookie sensation so far, Dalton Kincaid, has been looking amazing, right? Tell us a little bit more about that, Coach. What have you noticed from Dalton Kincaid that has you excited?
Well, I mean, the first thing that jumps off the charts is just how fluid he is and how smooth he is, and the natural hands. Josh Allen is throwing him this football, and he's just receiving it like it's just like the hands are just natural, they're soft, and he definitely has a connection with Josh. So that's what you want out of your first round pick. And that's going to accentuate the offense with the 12 personnel, because you can't double step Diggs or Gabe Davis for that matter if you have a guy occupying the middle of the field. So if you want to double team Steph Diggs, you won't be able to do it with a safety because you have two tight ends out there. So it's going to be a pick your poison type of deal. And so far, so good. I know that this offense is nowhere near a finished product, but I definitely like what I see so far week one.
Okay, so I'm hearing a lot of 12 personnel, right? And I get that. But I want to ask, have we seen Dalton Kincaid, excuse me, in anything outside of 12 personnel, or has been exclusively 12 personnel?
I mean, it's going to be 12 personnel. I mean, it can obviously be anything that a tight end is in, but I mean, he
No,
can.
but like, could we see him in the slot, or like, is he
Oh yeah,
just
you're going to see who moves
exclusively
around like a.
TE2?
Dorsey is going to move all these guys around like a chess piece. So
Had him in the backfield.
they're going to be
Right?
moved around. They're going to be
He's in the
moved
back.
around. They're going
Yeah,
to
they
move
had Knox
around
in the
all
back
over
for
the
that game.
place. Kincaid is more of an F, so he'll be that playmaker type. Dawson Knox will be a little bit more in line. So, that's pretty much your answer there.
Okay, all right. What are your expectations from Dalton Kincaid for his rookie season, Jamal? I mean, he is highly touted, of course. Me personally, I boast him as the best pass catcher, regardless of position in this draft that we just concluded, in terms of size, ability, and then just the intangibles that he possesses. And I like to say that we'll see what happens. But what are you expecting from him as far as his rookie season is concerned, Jamal?
Yeah, I think a very good year and a very good, start to the year. Some of that is also benefit, playing on a great team. You have a good receiver, a great receiver like Stephon Diggs, an upcoming a good receiver like Gabe Davis, to where Muki was saying you can't really double team, a tight end occupying the middle of the field. My only really worry was, historically tight ends, kind of struggled their first year and they kind of got to be eased in. But, what we're hearing from pretty much everyone in training camp, this is natural to him. He's coming along well, and he's already got so many good playmakers on the team. So I think he should fit right in seamlessly.
Okay, yeah, all right. So I I agree with you, right? Stephon Diggs came in, he fit in seamlessly. That's a different thing from like Cole Beasley coming in and fitting in seamlessly. Now they both excelled, right? But one is a little different. A couple notches above, right? So, what are you expecting to see from Dalton Kincaid in his rookie season? Like, I know I joked that he, is going to be the number 2 option in the entire offense behind Stephon Diggs, but like, is that a possibility, or should we, maybe pump the brakes a little bit in this rookie season?
Is that for me or for
Jamal? Yeah, you.
Yeah. I guess certainly a possibility. I'm not too sure yet because, occupying the middle of the field, kind of that slot position, to where he is, in terms of reading coverages, where they want him to be, the playbook is still complicated. He's still a rookie. I don't want to, pop him up too much there, but, he is, coming along fast, learning a lot of stuff fast. And, I trust Dorsey, we'll move him all around the field. Like, he's going to have his opportunities, there will be growing pains, with stuff like that. But it's certainly a possibility. I wouldn't be bold enough to bet my money that he wouldn't be the number 2 pass catcher on this team.
Fair enough. I know I say it a lot, and I don't know if I'm necessarily joking. I wouldn't say I'm joking. I truly believe that he really is. I do. I just, when you look at what plagues the Bills, it's stupid turnovers, just stupidity, right? They'll just randomly fumble at the 13-yard, their opponent's 13-yard line, or throw a stupid interception, or what I mean. Just get a holding penalty or a false start to push you behind the chains, and it's always something stupid that blows up, our progression. And when you look at Dalton Kincaid, I think he had like 2 drops his college career. He had no fumbles. He's not going to turn the ball over. He had the highest contested catch rate. He's going to catch it over people, and he's not going to make mistakes. That sounds like everything you could ask for in just a playmaking ability, a pass catching playmaker. That's pretty much exactly what Travis Kelce brings, and he also brings like masterful route running. And we'll see if Dalton Kincaid can do that on this level. But I think just outside of everything you could I mean, he has everything you could ask for in a tight end. So I'm expecting really, really big things from him. And hearing what's happening out of training camp just gives me more reason to believe that my expectations will and should be met. Because if he's already in Josh Allen's favor, I mean, sky's the limit. Josh Allen is one of them ones. And if you can, build a repertoire and build a reputation around being a dynamic player and a playmaker, that means the ball comes to you more. That means you have more expected of you, and then that kind of increases your bottom line, right? Because you go into the season as a first round rookie, nothing is promised to you. I mean, except the 4 years on that contract, and I mean, you could get cut before then, honestly, right? So if he comes in and isn't really making any noise, then okay, he kind of comes like a Dawson Knox backup. That's one thing. But if he comes in and he's able to build a relationship with Josh Allen, now he's on the field just as much, if not more, than Dawson Knox, and that's a different thing. So I would like to see the latter, because I do think he will eventually be our number 2 option, and that's not taking anything away from Gabe Davis. I just think that his particular, not only skill set, but his predicament, his circumstance, as far as being labeled as a tight end, even though I don't think he is a traditional tight end, he's labeled as one. The ergo, he's going to see linebackers and safeties, people who he can either overpower, mostly overpower, or outrun. So I'm expecting really, really good things from him. As am I of this entire wide receiver core, including somebody who Coach also mentioned as one of the candidates for Player of the Week, Deontay Hardy. Now, formerly Deontay Harris, right? So New Orleans fans, some of the New Orleans fans I talked to were very disappointed that he was leaving. They were like, yeah, y'all got a good one, right? So he's somebody who they like rave about. His only issue was not being able to necessarily stay on the field all the time. He wasn't necessarily available. But what could Deontay Hardy, his high end, be in this roster, Coach?
I mean, high end, I could say about 45 catches. In the high
It's
end.
not bad for your 3 options.
Deontay Hardy. Yeah, on the high end, I say 45 catches for Deontay Hardy, but I think he's going to have anywhere between 15 to 20 yards a catch. That's how explosive, he is. So he brings that dynamic. I mean, McKenzie was definitely explosive, but Hardy is a little bit more shiftier, and he has a higher gear, and with a little bit more shiftiness to him. I just say he maybe he's a little bit more athletic than Isaiah McKenzie,
and more size as well.
When you got guys like Gabe Davis and Kincaid and Diggs and Knox, you bring a guy like Hardy in. I mean, he's a gadget player, and he can also get up the field as far as his route running abilities. So, hey, you see him on some jet street sweeps where he can blow the top off that way. Getting outside, and he's another guy that can take a 5-yard route to the distance. So I mean, it's a lot of ways where you can use that, especially when he's out there with a Diggs, a Don Kincaid, a Josh Allen, a James Cook, a Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox.
Okay, so when I said more size, I got my wires crossed. I was talking about Trent Sherfield. I did want to hear your thoughts on Deontay Hardy there, but also Trent Sherfield, because this is a guy who's played in both the San Francisco offense as well as the Miami offense, 2 of the more dynamic offenses in this league that revolve around speed, right? And he's 6'1" with that speed. Is this a guy who could make some splashes in training camp or preseason and maybe, get a significant amount of playing time here in the regular season?
Well, yes. Well, he's the Jake Kumaro replacement. So it's definitely some reps. I think that's definitely a great. Not taking anything from Kumaro, but Sherfield's faster. He can run on routes. It's a little bit more physical, and he's a special teamer as well. So I think that's another good move by the Bills, another good acquisition. Um, and yeah, Sherfield's he's been performing quite well in camp as well. So they got weapons at a bargain price. Um, Bean was true to his word, not really having too many big splashes. I mean, I would say Leonard Floyd would be a splash, but a minor splash, not a major splash. But other than that, they didn't really make any big major splashes. Like DeAndre Hopkins, that's a major splash. So OBJ, that's a major splash. But Leonard Floyd, I could say he's a medium. He's a medium splash, if
Yeah,
you will. It's not of a Von Miller type magnitude, but still, his name ring bells, and he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. So, um, I like the picks that the Bills have made. Those guys are producing. They're coming into camp. They're competitive. They're ready to go. This team already had a championship caliber peg, on it. So far so good. I mean, everybody want to talk about what's going on the on the other teams in reference to the division. So we'll just see how that materializes.
yeah, and absolutely. Not only that, but you take a look at Leonard Floyd, and you also have to consider that the Bills have a few defensive linemen who they believe in and who are going to get playing time because of that heavy rotation that they use. A Leonard Floyd, who maybe, I don't know this for certain, but I imagine he probably played 70, 80% of the snaps wherever he can. And, coming into Bill's, roster, defensive line rotation, you now have fresh legs more often while you're on the field. And I think that can also provide a significant increase in production from a guy like Leonard Floyd. Jamal, rounding out the offense, you take a look at this running back core, and with the unfortunate loss of Naeem Himes, excuse me, you look at guys like James Cook, who is expected to be the top dog, right? And Damian Harris, who is no slouch and will eat your food if you ain't paying attention to it. So James Cook don't like sleep, like, you know what I mean? Like, he will come and, you know what I'm saying? So, and then you also took at Latavius Murray, who obviously has, made his rounds in this league and has been a force to be reckoned with, especially in certain years. I want to ask, do we look at the running back market and say, there's a guy who, Jonathan Taylor just asked to be traded. I think Ezekiel Elliott is still out there, and he's not the worst running back in the world. Jamal, what is the state of the running back room? Would you change it? And what are your expectations for it?
I want to change one thing. I truly think we're just fine at the running back room right now. Hines was an unfortunate injury, but it's not a killer on offense for us for any means. If anything, it was really hurtful in terms of special teams. He was a really good returner, almost dare I say special returner. So that will be kind
I
of
felt like it was
a
special return.
big loss. I know Hardy did some returning in New Orleans, was pretty good at that. So hopefully he'll do that. But it's not only the punts but kickoff returners too. Like he did both of that. You usually don't see that around the league these days. So that's truly where I felt like, damn, he's going to be real missed. But as far as the offense stuff goes, not necessarily. If anything, it just puts a bigger load on James Cook. Pause. As far as being able to read coverages, which way you go when it's cover 3, cover 2, which way you're supposed to go and stuff like that. He's just a second-year player, so that'll be more stuff on him. But as far as we still got Damian Harris, Abuser. James Cook is still pretty good. We think we still got Latavius Murray back there. Our running back room is pretty good. I wouldn't try to get Dalvin Cook, nor does I think he really wants to go here. Squash his brother's career. Or try to get Jonathan Taylor. I think we're fine where we are.
So you don't want Jonathan Taylor, or you just like, we don't need him?
I mean, it's Jonathan Taylor. Like, of course I want him, but I don't think we need to try to trade assets, try to get him, and try to give him all the money he wants.
Right.
It's Jonathan Taylor. Of course.
Okay, fair enough. What are your expectations from the current carnation of running back room we have as of right now, your James Cook, your Damian Harris, and your Latavius Murray. What are your expectations for those guys for this season?
I think, it'll be production-wise, it'll probably be the best production we've had of a running back room in the whole, McDermott, Josh Allen era. In my opinion, outside probably the first year where we had, Shady McCoy here doing, crazy stuff. I expect them to be very good. We should be able to be able to run the ball the best we've had, during the Josh Allen era. The lines, been redone. Looks, pretty good outside of, right tackle. We still have a question mark there. The passing game should be pretty good with them. They're smart players, protect the ball pretty well. And so I expect them to be, pretty good, pretty productive.
That's an interesting take because I wasn't thinking like that until you just said it, but then I thought about it and I was like, I mean, take a look at James Cook. Maybe isn't as good as a LaShawn McCoy or quite as good as a Pete Devin Singletary yet, or it remains to be seen whether he is or not. But Damian Harris is bar none by far our best second back that we've had in a long time. When we switched from Shady, we went to Devin Singletary. That was his rookie season, and we kept Frank Gore. Frank Gore was old and probably shouldn't have got the touches that he did. He wasn't as good as Damian Harris, and then of course Zach Moss and Matt Breida and all those guys. Those guys were, they were good, they were fine or whatever, but they weren't as good as Damian Harris is. So I think that's a very interesting take, and I'm kind of starting to agree with you. I do think we, may go get a third back. I don't know if Latavius Murray is just like the end all be all, for our third back there. But we'll see what happens there. What about you, Coach? What's your thoughts on our rushing attack for the season? Are you confident in the running room as well as the offensive line to be able to? We've been talking about this for 3 seasons now. Are they actually going to run next season, and are they going to be competent with it?
Well, I asked Mitch Morris that very question. Basically like what improvements he would like to see. This year. And, he did say, run the ball a little bit more, have that balance where it doesn't put Josh in certain positions on where he has to do too much. And, now they have the backs. They feel that can get the job done. Not to say that Devin Singletary wasn't that guy. It was just that he wasn't a scheme fit, to what they were doing, in the run game a little bit. So, now you bring in a guy like Damian Harris, who's that speed, the power back, and you got Latavius Murray, who's obviously a natural power back at 6'3", 230. James Cook, man, I know everybody is tinkering about Dalvin Cook, but you don't need Dalvin Cook when you got James Cook. They are the same player to me. I think that hey, James Cook is definitely in position to have an outstanding season. Definitely, his numbers are going to be much better than what they were his rookie year. But his rookie year was very promising. He flashed at times when he did, get the ball. So hopefully the Bills can. Well, we know that's going to increase automatically because Devin Singletary is no longer there, and he's now running back 1. So, and that's a good thing. Now you got a running back that's a little bit more explosive. Okay. He's more of a pass catcher as well. James Cook can very well be, an all-down back. But, we got a good rotation with, again, Damian Harris and Latavius Murray, Reggie Gilliam for now. So I like the room. It's unfortunate what's happened with Naeem Hines. That's why they brought in Andy Isabella. So so hey, I like the upgrades. Again, I keep saying the Bills have made minor upgrades. They've definitely made minor upgrades to a roster that was a Super Bowl favorite last year. So again, if this team that was a Super Bowl favorite last year basically put out a better roster than last year, the Bills should definitely be in a hunt of things. I don't care who goes where. I put a tweet up the other day that, the Bills are really forcing teams in the division to, be great, to keep up with the Joneses, because if you don't, then the Bills are going to slaughter you. So that's why you see, guys like Ezekiel Elliott visiting New England, Dalvin Cook, the Jets, Jalen Ramsey's in Miami. He's hurt now, but you see other teams in the division, they have no choice but to be in the swing of things for top free agents and things of that nature, seasoned guys, because they gotta keep up in the race with the Buffalo Bills. I mean, there ain't no other way around that. And hey, it's good to be mentioned by those big A+ free agents, but they want their money too. So right now, it just the stars is not aligning for it to happen. So maybe somewhere down the line, it may happen with another splash at a bargain price with a player who feel that he got something to prove, and it'll happen that way. But again, make no mistake about it, this Bills roster is much better than last year's roster.
I have to agree. And we were talking about this on the radio. Of course, this is powered by the legendary 96.5 WFO. We were talking about it, and it was crazy to think. Bean started off the money with like no money. In fact, they owe money for all intents and purposes, right? And for him to be able to come out of the offseason with the moves that he made, it kind of shows you just how, I don't want to say lazy the reporting that people in the national media do, but it shows you kind of like how oblivious they are, where it's like, y'all don't really know what's going on for every individual team. Like y'all kind of just like, broad spectrum type of deal. Y'all not really deep diving, which is crazy to me. But either way, they come out with, to me, a better roster. I feel like you're really only, it was a major loss, but your only major loss is Tremaine Evans, right? Uh, Devin Singletary leaves and you replace him with Damian Harris, which I personally believe Devin Singletary is a little better, but the populace probably believes that's a lateral move, if not an upgrade. And then you get Leonard Floyd. You fortify your offensive line, you fortify your defensive line, and you already had a amazing secondary. In fact, you actually fortify that with Taylor Rapp, right? You bring back Dane Jackson, and the running back room, you go get Latavius Murray, you go get Damian Harris, of course, and then you draft the best pass catcher out of this year's draft. I mean, Brandon Beane has absolutely had a phenomenal offseason, and this is why I keep saying that we can't look at the result of the end of the season and be like, "Oh, it's Brandon Beane's fault." Nah. Like every year we go into the season super excited because we like, "Yo, this roster's amazing." So that's where I personally defend Brandon Beane a lot, just because I'm like amazed that he put this together with negative money. It's crazy to me. I never want to lose this guy, but I digress. Let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball for what we've been seeing from training camp. Of course, we are going to be without Von Miller. Well, I mean, I don't know how long, because he's a freak of a person. He, has apparently reportedly been coming along very, very well, and he is apparently already close to returning. That's what people say. So we'll see about that. But in the meantime, you still have Gregory Rousseau, who is coming into his own. He's looking more and more like a dynamic pass rusher every single season. Malcolm Floyd, who's already earned his stripes in this league, right? You got AJ Epinesa with something to prove. Shaq Lawson is always going to be a dog. And then your defensive tackles all look strong. DeQuan Jones, Tim Settle, Jordan Phillips, Ed Oliver. I didn't forget the best one, Ed Oliver. The defense seems to look really, really good. So, Coach, outside of linebacker, because that's obvious problem, what is one part of this defense that concerns you, or that you will be paying close attention to for the remainder of training camp?
Other than linebacker, I really don't have no concerns. I mean, you have an all-pro secondary, you have an all-pro corner, you have two promising corners battling for cornerback number 2. So I don't have a problem with the secondary. I think the defensive line from edge to edge is pretty solid. Probably one of the best rotations that the Bills have had in Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott era. Only thing I'll be concerned with, as good as we are in the secondary, as good as we are um, in the up front defense wise. Um, One thing that concerns me is how aggressive this defense is going to be under McDermott. Now, we know that wasn't their thing the past couple of years under Frazier. You know, under Frazier, so sort of speak, right? So they got to be aggressive. That's my concern. Will they? How aggressive will this defense be this year under Sean McDermott? That's my concern.
Muted.
My bad. Yeah. Looking at Gregory Rousseau, right? Of course, he's going into his third season out of Miami. Uh, Considering he missed the entire previous season to his rookie season, he's coming off of no football for an entire 365, and then he gives his rookie season where he makes a few plays, right? Second season, he makes a lot more plays. What are you expecting from him in this third season? Is he, going to be able to step in as that dominant defensive end, or is he going to, or do you expect him to kind of be more of a not necessarily dominant, but serviceable defensive end who, maybe makes low, high money, like, you know what I mean? Like one of those, not quite all pros, but really, really good defensive ends throughout his career.
Hmm. I think year 3 is going to be a better season for him than last year. He had 8 sacks last year. He did. It was a little bit nicked up down the stretch, but third time's a charm. I think. I mean, he's getting better and better each year. To learn from guys like Von Miller and now Leonard Floyd is definitely going to up the ante. Um, Year 3, the game should really start slowing down for me. That's what you want to see. Out of your budding star year 3 is how much has the game slowed down to him to the point where he's making plays, shutting down the run, setting the edge, and getting after the quarterback and pass rush the situation. So you know I think he's going to have a solid season. I think it's going to be a double-digit sacks for him. So I'm expecting good things out of Greg Rousseau year 3.
Okay. Let me ask you, Jamal, maybe in a more appropriate way for the way I was trying to phrase the question, right? Is he going to be more Dwight Freeney or Robert Mathis? Is he going to be like more Chase Young or Montez Sweat?
I mean, Dwight Freeney is quite a that's quite a name right there. Probably more Robert Mathis, I would say. It's just so hard to say year 3 these guys are gonna be like Hall of Fame legendary names that you just throw around. But I think he'll be very good. I think there's like a line between very good and perennial All Pro and serviceable. I think that's where Greg Rousseau will be, and I think mainly it's because of his his arms and his hands and what he could do it that way. Even when he's not stopping the run or getting after the passer, the way he can manipulate the game or the pocket with his hands and batting out passes and making those difficult, I think that's really the next step for him. And so, like, even when he's not against the quarterback, can he affect 3-4 throws in a game? Bat a pass down on third down, see a quick slant coming. We see some of that his rookie year. He was able to pick off a pass from Mahomes. In a critical game for us in a critical juncture. And, just getting some more plays like that from him. I think that's gonna really get him money and kind of turn teams on to that. That's kind of a great ability, especially with quarterbacks being able to move all around these days and not necessarily staying stationary in the pocket. That's going to be a great weapon to have. And so I think he's going to be a pretty good I don't want to say defensive, but overall player in this league in terms of the ability to to do that with his physical traits.
Yeah. All right. I don't want to jump back and forth, but I have been hearing, and actually, Coach even said it in pre-production. He mentioned it. Osiris Torrance is one of the potential players of the week in camp. Now, I was very confident that Osiris Torrance was going to win out the right guard job. I thought if anybody deserved competition, it's Spencer Brown. And I would rather see Ryan Bates fight for that spot than, be trying to, hold off a rookie who we drafted in the second round. But there seemed to be a lot of like pushback on that, and even a lot of people thinking that Ryan Bates is better than Osiris Torrance. Coach, looking at the offensive line and that guard position in particular, what is it from the first week of training camp? What does it look like the leaves are trending for that one?
I mean, the jury's still out, on Osiris Torrance. I think it's more or less that the Bills are, they shuffling the deck. They mentioned and matching just to see, if he can handle it. Being out there with the ones, going up against the number one defense, stuff like that. How he's going to handle that. And again, they're still in coverage and shorts. It's not like they're really out there in full-fledged pads. So when it's pads time, then that's really going to see the action increase. You're going to see the intensity fly, and that's when you're going to see a couple of fights for sure, once the pads really get to popping. So I think basically that, things is in a good spot. I really do believe that things are in a good spot when it comes to that. Osiris Torrance playing on both sides, whether it's left guard or right guard. Bills are really developing him and to have some sort of player flexibility. The Bills love that, especially up front. Ryan Bates, he's another interchangeable player. He can play center as well. You've seen Connor McGovern. He's another versatile guy. He can play center and guard, and he can play some tackle. So, Bills is just shuffling the deck to see what misses and matches, what five works best with each other. And, hey, they got a good rotation. They got damn near 20 linemen to evaluate this year. So it's going to be pretty interesting week 2, to see who lines up where and, how things materialize.
Nah, you're not getting away that easy. For week 1, I want to know what your projected left tackle through right tackle are as of right now from what you've seen through 1 week of training camp.
What you say?
From left tackle through right tackle, I want to know what your week 1 regular season projections are.
Well, I'm just going to go with the usual suspects. I mean, Dawkins and McGovern, Mitch Morris, Bates and Brown. That's okay. Just, that's my 5 right now. Hey, contract purposes, the competition really starts setting in. I say this next stretch. You got the first week is out of the way. You shaked all the butterflies and learning your scheme or what you need to do as far as getting to your marks, your spot within the scheme, making plays within that scheme, understanding it, processing things. So now, week 2, things will be a little bit, they're going to start throwing more and more and more at these guys to see what they can retain and, may the best man win that way. Go out there and make plays and more that the Bills up the ante on, how much they're trying to install.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Jamal? Do you have the same 5 as coach, or do you think it might be something different?
Right now I do, but I mean, I've heard, Spencer Brown's still having, some troubles in camp, kind of one day was like getting worked real bad. So, as of right now, I would kind of go with coach as far as, contracts go and, the continuity, that's, who the 5 they have. And I expect, hopefully he gets better and is able to win that job out. But, he's been struggling just from the reports I'm hearing, and that's not great. And if he continues to do that, I expect the Bills to kind of, get someone in there who can play right tackle the correct way.
Okay. All right. What about Bobby Hart? Y'all see him? You know what I'm saying? No. I just found out my mom is down in South Carolina right now at a family reunion. I just found out he's my cousin. So, like, I gotta, what I'm saying? Like,
reporting eligible, number 68, Bobby Hart.
So,
he was tight end. He was tight end number 2 last year.
I'm kind of
Bobby Hart to Dalton Kincaid.
I'm kind of rooting for him now. All right, so I guess we'll see what happens with that. But all right, fellas. I mean, we took a look at the offense. We took a look at the defense. Before we get out of here, we might as well touch on the special teams issue that we have because of stationary Naeem Himes on that jet ski. He will not be able to be our return man this season, as Jamal alluded to earlier in the show. Who takes over that? If you had to guess right now, who are your kick return and punt returns, Jamal?
Well, Hardy and Shakur would be, my kick returners. And then my punt returner would be Hardy.
Okay. What about you, Coach?
Yeah.
My fault.
No, you're
My
good.
bad.
You're good.
My bad. I mean, we do got Anthony Isabella. They did bring him in, another speedster. So, but right now, depth chart wise, is those two. And then we'll see what Isabella does, this week.
Okay.
Yeah, coaches bring an interesting point up with Isabella, so he may have a say with that, and Micah's kind of our emergency guy, but I think Hardy kind of wins both jobs just because of the familiarity he did with New Orleans and the success he had in doing that as well. We already kind of have our big guys with Diggs and Davis and Kincaid, and I heard Sherfield's make a lot of plays, so probably him. And so not to say Hardy won't be all that involved with the offense, but he'll be out there sparingly, and he'll have he'll have the fresh body, fresh legs, do all the returning and the punting, and I think that's he could really make a splash, and his impact with the team is on special teams returning those punts and returning those kicks.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say Deontay Hardy and Trent Sherfield. I feel like those are two guys who you want to see on the field with blockers out in front of them in open space. They can do a lot of damage. Naeem Himes was, my original option only because I've seen him do it. He had some major kickoff returns, including 2 in the DeMar Hamlin game, and he obviously looked super dynamic, and I wanted to see a repeat of that this season. But I feel like Deontay Hardy's probably going to win it out, and hey, you might see the little guy in the end zone multiple times this season. We'll see what happens there. From a wide receiver perspective and a special team perspective. But yeah, you guys got anything else that you want to add before we hop up out of here for the evening?
Got nothing.
AJ Espinoza, man. I'm telling you now, he's gonna have a solid season. I don't know what the hell the Bills are gonna do. Are they gonna extend him 2-year extension? For a few dollars. Keep him around. You never know how that's gonna shape out once Von Miller leaves and Floyd's gone next year. You don't want to be without somebody on the edge. I mean, you still got Shaq Lawson, you got Boogie, but I think that AJ is going to has 6 sacks last year, 6.5 sacks last year. He's another guy that could potentially give you double-digit sacks again this year. I think he's going into his 4th year now. He done put his weight back on. He's carrying it quite well, and being in the league now, he's a seasoned vet. In his 4th year, so it's nothing that he hasn't really seen. Now it's just time to refine technique and go play with the confidence that he can play with now that he's put the weight back on. It's 265. I don't know. I mean, hey, I throw a few dollars at Espinoza. I throw a 2-year, $10 million extension or something like that. Espinoza right now, just to keep him around, or something's gonna have to give, with that. Because if the Bills win a Super Bowl this year, then my guessing is maybe Von retires, or he's gonna play. He's gonna play that last year because guarantees. Is the first 3 years. So after that, what you got? Then Greg Rousseau contract will be up. So the Bills gonna have to really figure that out. What they're gonna really be doing up front for the near future. And this is the crucial evaluation for AJ Espinoza and the Buffalo Bills for that matter.
Yeah, after AJ Epinesa broke Tua, I thought he was about to have a dog season. yeah, it didn't quite pan out that way, but I did see, the flashes where I was like, oh, okay, he could be pretty good. Um, I feel like I didn't see enough to where I was just like, all right, let's keep him. But if he's able to show those flashes again this year, and definitely if he's able to accumulate double-digit sacks, I say bring him back. Especially because, to the coach's point, Von Miller is not getting younger, and neither is Leonard Floyd. And Leonard Floyd probably won't be here for too long. So you're going to need some depth. Shaq Lawson won't be here forever either. So, I say, throw money at him, especially if you could get it on the cheaper side. How do you feel about AJ Epinesa before we get up out of here, Jamal?
I feel the same way you guys feel. He's been getting better every year. He's put that weight back on. The coach has said, he looked good. He looked good last year. Obviously when he broke to it, it kind of, like I said, didn't really materialize for the year after that. But he's been getting better each and every year, and so I expect him to get even better this year. And I hear what you guys are saying. With throwing a few dollars at him. Leonard Floyd's only on a 1-year deal. Von Miller's old. Could be more injury prone now. You kind of want to get some, rebuild the line with a lot of these young guys, that you drafted and that you know are good and reliable. So, kind of what you guys said, I have nothing to really push back on as far as that goes.
Yeah, I guess we will see what happens with AJ Epinesa. As we've seen what happened with the training camp so far last week. Yeah, a lot of great things happen. A lot of young players popping. A lot of veterans, doing what they're supposed to do and looking good. So we will continue to keep our eye out on what these guys are doing for the remainder of the training camp as we get into the preseason. Gentlemen, every single day we are closer and closer to football, and I finally have a life again. So we'll see, how the rest of this training camp shakes out. But that's gonna do it for us. Shout out to 26 Shirts. Shout out to 96.5 WFO, Bet Online, BLEAV, everybody involved into helping us make this a great show. Coach, go ahead and send us out, man.
The 47 Kensington All-Star Lions game. South beat North. Do you believe?
Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the game starts.